point that you definitely highlighted that, people, new mothers go through a lot of, physical exhaustion as well as a mental and emotional exhaustion. But uh,
Correct.
how do you think that some of the ways that people can set their expectation or do their tuning to anticipate, and let's take this opportunity of this discussion to call out some of this, that, what are some of the expectation, where what are some of the boundaries that you need to look into, and probably you can highlight that, basis your discussion with some of the mothers who come and interact and seek your support.
Sure. So, Michelle, the first thing that we need to understand is you're not going to be as productive as you used to be before. You have to accept the fact that yes, it is the same brain, it's the same person, it's the same IQ, but your error margin is going to be very high. Your productivity is going to be at an all-time low. This is not to say that you're not good enough anymore. It's simply because your body is healing, your body is recovering from what it has been. Your emotional self is trying to come to a new way of expecting reality, accepting the reality. And at that point of time, if you give yourself what we psychologists say a cognitive overload, you're also demanding yourself to be more productive or remain as productive as you were before. It's not going to happen. So we have to set our expectations, no matter how empowered we are, how feministic we are in our inclinations. We have to realize that we need to set that bar lower. I understand that many of us don't like this idea. You don't have to like the idea. Just look at yourself in the mirror. Any new mother who's looking at a deadline or who's looking at trying to have that comeback at work, I'm just going to request her, go stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself. And now you will have to accept that reality. Ki yes, you are stressed right now. The way you're expecting from yourself, your life, your spouse, your child has changed. So please redefine what is productivity for you. Please get ready for a larger margin of error for yourself, and give yourself time to recover and create a new level of productivity. Become selective in your job. See if that is a possibility. Many of my clients whom I'm working with, they often ask me, my previous job and the kind of policies they had was wonderful, and I always thought it was going to be empowering, but right now they just don't understand that when they say 5 minutes of mail, that 5 minutes really costs me. And I agree with them that those 5 minutes of mail that people say that you can finish and do, it doesn't finish and go away. That 5 minutes has to come after so many different decisions that you need to take. You probably would have employed a daycare person for your child, or your spouse would be taking care, or somebody else in your family would be taking care, and then you would have had certain other things that you need to finish. And by the time you come to that 5 minutes, it makes no sense. So you will have to find out that people are ready to accept you in your current realistic circumstances. So be very objective about it. Look at how your workplace has behaved with people who are new mothers, and the attrition rate in the corporates the minute a mother makes a comeback itself is a good reminder and a good place to begin with, because maternity leave does not compensate for what's going to happen to you afterwards. Those 3 6 months or now 9 months that some of them offer is just the mere beginning. You are now a mother. Your motherhood has begun. The maternity part is probably just for your physiological recovery and physical recovery, but the way you take time and how you schedule time and your priorities are all going to be very different now. So my ardent suggestion to new mothers is kindly accept this reality of yourself. Kindly look at yourself, look at your work life, give yourself that mirror reality check. When I think of my work and I'm looking in the mirror, do I see a smile on myself, on my face, or do I see, oh my god, I have to lost it? And if you're in this space, kindly relook at what you're demanding from yourself. And this acceptance, I think, is paramount.
Right, right.
Yes,
And I think very nicely put in, Soumya. And what was also one of the points that we also had discussed, that when we are working, we have or we are pre the motherhood phase, we have a lot of control over a lot of things that we are doing, whether it's at work,
Yes,
whether it's at home, how the house is running, how neat my house is, how beautiful my house looks, how proper I look. And it's a
yes,
perception that we all have built, and then letting go some of these control elements, whether it's at work, whether it's
yes,
the way you sell, the way you look, or
yes,
whether it is for the way the house has been run, and whether someone the third party is coming in or whoever. Letting go of the control becomes a very relearning and a self care element for our own self, as new mothers, and especially if the new mothers have been
correct,
working and are used to offer a certain set of controls in their personal and professional life. So
correct.
yeah.
Sarmisha, I agree with you. This sense of control and lack of information, both of which we are going to suffer from. We will not have a certain amount of control. For example, before having a child, if you had to meet a project deadline or if you had to do something, you could push yourself hard, and that's about it. You probably didn't sleep enough nights, or you didn't take weekend off, or you postponed certain other leisure activities. So you had a higher amount of control in terms of your productivity. But now with a child, no matter how much you're going to organize, how much you're going to plan, how much we'll have C, B, D, E, F plans, forget A and B. DEF plans also are not going to work because your child is simply not going to cooperate, and that's probably what how nature intends it. The child is all consuming, and many a times this may not get understood, right? This may not get accepted or this may not get understood, and I think a new mother has to be prepared for this lack of sense of control and this lack of information also, because now you're going to worry not just for yourself or your job or your family life. You're going to worry about what's happening to the child. You'll be like, oh, am I feeding enough number of times? Oh, is the kind of process that my child is going through, is it healthy or is it not healthy? So now a part of your brain space is also going to get devoted for your child's well-being. So we have to be very equipped with the idea that no matter how much we try to control, we have to accept we do not have as much control. And second, we also have to accept lack of information. You will not know everything that you need to know. You will definitely rely. You might have read your parenting book, you would have gone on Google and searched so many things, but then you will go back and pick up the phone and talk to an actual mother. It could be an aunt, it could be a grandmother, it could be your own mom or sister, and you will ask her, देखो ऐसा ऐसा हो रहा है, do you think this is all right, this is not all right? A simple thing, maybe something has gone pink on the cheek or something has happened with the bowel movements, and you want more information, and you would rely coming from a person than from a digital space. So this kind of uncertainty, again, COVID is kind of putting that uncertainty on everybody's face, and people are more accepting of it now. This is also something a new mother has to accept. Ki no matter how prepared you are, you will look and feel unprepared, and your sense of control will be highly challenged. You won't be able to control that small little thing that everybody is looking at as a bundle of joy. He or she will get up when you want them to sleep. They will sleep when you want them to get up. They will want to eat when you don't want them to eat. They will do all of this. And they will scream when you are thinking they need to calm down. Nay, this is not going to happen. So you have to accept it, and this is how it is.
Right.
And give yourself that error margin.
Right.
Yes.
And I think a lot of these books that we read, especially a lot of books that I got as a gift, and thankfully for them, they are all written by Western, Western writers. So,
Uh,
and we in India have a very different kind of societal norms and
yes.
framework and fabric around us. And that kind of, people, many a times I see a lot of mothers being very confused, including my own self, very confused, where there is in those books, there is all about routine. How do you make, within 6 months, how your child is so independent and can, be on their own, somewhere.
Uh,
So But at the same time, I think these are so dynamic ways, because there is
Yes,
no one right way. There are so dynamic ways,
correct.
because every book I see, I read a book which was extremely interesting, but at the end of the day, there is one small para that the writer writes, that because we are in America and we do not have the liberty of getting long maternity leave and etc., we are pushing certain things into our habits, our routine, and focusing on that. Uh, how the child sleep on their own, how the child does, how do we kind of get them into
Mm-hmm.
solid faster, how they go out of being from bottle. So we are all so fixated about those particular milestone and making them independent as fast, because we do not have the liberty as a working moms of larger leaves etc. in the US. And most of these books and writers are from US. And what happens
Yes.
is what happens is that we in India, we try to, our society is, and in that, sorry, coming back to that same point, that in that one para, she says that I am writing it only basis the situation or the society we live in. If you go to the
Correct.
tribal society or the communities that we used to be earlier, their mothers used to, there used to be always one woman attending the child continuously till the child is 2 or 3 years. So that used to be
Mm-hmm.
the setup, and which is still a setup in many tribal societies. She gave an example of a tribal society where they hold the child, they will be always be tied to the chest of one
Yes.
female member of the family. So for
Correct.
2 years, and only after 2 years they let go of that position. So she told that and those bring in their own element of security and etc. within the child, and we are not talking about that part during our discussion,
Yes.
because our focus is on the mother. But these are things that kind of make us more and more confused. While so we probably need to filter, like you rightly said, that what we information we are absorbing, what is working for me, and then diluting it
Hmm.
into that what is working for me in my system and what is not working for me. So information is
Correct.
good, but not to again try to control those all information and be the perfect mother is also a good thing to be.
Yes, I think that what you said the last really make the best sense. I think we all have this picture of a perfect mother, and most of the time that mother is highly unrealistic. It's a very unrealistic depiction of motherhood, because in your mind you are a perfect mother to a perfect child. Your child is not going to meet those perfection standards, and therefore you are not going to meet those perfection standards. And I really appreciate the socio-cultural perspective you brought, or the knowledge that you brought. Many of us are stuck in different molds. Like my friend group is a place or my workplace was a place where having a nanny was acceptable, and that was probably the way, the tradition or convention. But I came from a family where it was it wasn't unacceptable, but that wasn't the norm. And so when I became a mother, even though I was very unconservative otherwise, or non-conservative otherwise, I went back to my conservative roots, because it kind of felt that probably that's what I should do, and that's how maybe my child will be healthy, or my baby will be healthy. But as I started moving along in this journey, I realized there is no perfect way of doing it. There is a way of doing it, and you keep figuring it out whether your chosen way is helping or not helping.